Reverend Patty Mercado, Senior Minister of the Huntington Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Leslie Goodwin, Co-Senior Minister of New Vision Center for Spiritual Living, Marketing for the School of Spiritual Leadership. Reverend Laura Hallett, Centers for Spiritual Living Licensing and Credentialing, Ministerial Support Coordinator. Reverend Barbara Bew, Centers for Spiritual Living Licensing and Credentialing Manager. Reverend Guy Williams, Spiritual Director of both the Hilltop Spiritual Center in Fallbrook, California, and the Corazon Global in Tijuana, Mexico. Instructor for the School of Spiritual Leadership. Reverend Valerie Reeves. Reverend Bonnie Rose, Senior Minister of the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Sunshine Day, Spiritual Director of the Downey Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Michael F. McMorrow, Spiritual Director of the Center for Spiritual Living, Granada Hills. Reverend Sonia Byrne, Executive Director for Centers for Spiritual Living. Reverend Dr. Sharon Hudson, Field Leader for Centers for Spiritual Living, Instructor for the School of Spiritual Leadership. Reverend Dr. Edward Volune, Spiritual Leader for Centers for Spiritual Living. Reverend C.C. Coltrane, Manager of Holmes Institute. Reverend Catherine McKinney, Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, Dean of the Los Angeles campus of the School of Spiritual Leadership. Reverend Dr. Moira Fox, Senior Minister of the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, Director of the Los Angeles campus of the School for Spiritual Leadership.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into our virtual sanctuary today. What a beautiful and wonderful day it is, I can tell you. We in Redondo are rejoicing greatly that we actually have a community here in person, small be it. But the occasion is huge, and we're here to honor, to celebrate, and to launch these beautiful ministers on their way, all over the place, into the next step of their unfolding ministry. And so we will commence now with Reverend Catherine coming and saying a few words with us, and then we'll sit back, relax, and have a beautiful time together.
Thank you all for being here and welcome. And before I go further, I want to make a special note of appreciation for that processional video that was created by Reverend Leslie Goodwin, and her husband, Bobby Olander, was our professional announcer. And thank you so much for taking up the mantle of something that had not been done before and doing it so beautifully. But watch out, now everybody's gonna want one. So welcome into our sanctuary, those of you who are with us in person, and those who are joining us on YouTube. It's wonderful to have you here. What we are here to do is to celebrate the culmination, the completion of 4 graduates of the Los Angeles School for Spiritual Leadership. And this is our first graduating class. It's a delight to have you here. So, one of the wonderful things about a graduation ceremony is that you get to take a peek at what it's like to witness professional spiritual education that happens through the Centers for Spiritual Living. And it is, in doing that, I want to share with you the mission statement of our teaching. Holmes Institute offers quality distance education graduate programs in consciousness studies to spiritual leaders preparing for service in the global community. Our ceremony today indeed honors many years of spiritual study and training, and that is true on the part of all of our graduates. To the significant others of those of you who are here today, we recognize that it's meaningful and important that you are here today, whether you are here in this room or joining us on YouTube. It is a moment to celebrate in the lives of those that you know the spiritual attainment. And so we will begin our ceremony today. We've got a jam-packed 60 minutes to share with you. We are going to begin with an invocation by Reverend Mike McMorrow, who is the senior minister of Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, and he's also the regional support coordinator for Region 2. We will flow from that into a video. The opening song is by Denise Rose, and it's a video that includes photographs of many students of the Schools for Spiritual Leadership all over our schools. Following that, we are going to have a live presentation with two people who are going to read to you our Declaration of Principles. But for now, we are going to begin with the invocation.
Hello, Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm coming to you from the sanctuary at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California, where I serve as a senior minister, along with our new staff minister, Reverend Nicole Robbins. I'm also your Region 2 support rep for ministers. So it's my high honor and privilege to be here with you today to offer this invocation. So if you would just join me by just taking a centering breath and just releasing, and in that release, just allow ourselves to surrender to this moment as we know together that God is in the house, that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence, one infinite heart of the divine expressing itself in, through, and as all of creation, and in, through, and as this moment where we honor our new ministers for Centers for Spiritual Living, that we are also joining them in a consciousness of physical support as well as in consciousness to support them in the highest unfoldment of their various ministries, that we are just so delighted and really overjoyed to see this seeming path that's coming to a conclusion, but we know that it is a launching pad for something even greater, that we are so excited and joyous to watch this wonderful unfoldment, this wonderful evolvement of ministry for these new ministers, and as how we do this together in spiritual community. So in this way, we too are stepping up to support these ministers in consciousness and love, as we know that those talents and the calling within is also calling us forth to see how we too can support our spiritual community and support our new ministers and our pastors in this spiritual community. And so in this way then, let's just take a moment to raise and praise all of our Centers for Spiritual Living in this crazy COVID time, that we're knowing that all of them are thriving and prospering, that all of the needs of them are met for our various components of ministry, that our hearts are being raised and lifted for this joyous opportunity of good. And so we just now take another deep breath. And in the words spoken here, we're just now knowing we are releasing it to that aspect of the mind of the divine itself that knows only to say yes. And so in gratitude and confidence, we just release it to its divine unfoldment, knowing this day is wonderful. And so it is. Amen.
Good afternoon. I'm Marianne Cordova-Breen, and this is William Carpenter. It is our honor to share with you the Declaration of Principles written by Ernest Holmes and the global vision of the Centers for Spiritual Living. These are the principles and ideas upon which we stand.
We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God.
We know that there is one life, everywhere expressing its infinite nature, and that this life is called many things: universal intelligence, beauty, infinite abundance, peace, spirit, joy, creativity, or simply God.
We believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit.
We envision all people, all beings, and all lives as expressions of God. We demonstrate the oneness of spirit in everything that we do, knowing that this oneness is inclusive of race, age, ethnicity, culture, history, religion, political affiliation, experience, gender, and sexual orientation.
We believe in the eternality and the immortality and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding.
We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and the ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone.
We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it.
We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with the highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other.
We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all.
We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging, a world of peace, harmony, enfranchisement, and justice. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness is the norm.
We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God are one God.
We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family, a world where kinship with life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources.
We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence.
We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sector. We include everyone in our vision of a peaceful, loving world.
We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God.
We stand together in a shared commitment and devotion to our spiritual principles, practices, and values.
We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative medium which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it.
We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics.
We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind.
We teach spiritual solutions and practices to address the everyday challenges of life, encouraging all of our members to live courageous, fearless lives and to be passionate about life and its possibilities.
We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all.
We are a community empowered with the realization of unity and wholeness, from which flows the ultimate healing power of forgiveness and love. We are known for the love we share throughout our community and the world.
We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. Namaste.
Thank you, William and Marianne. William and Marianne are rising seniors in the Los Angeles School for Spiritual Leadership. And thank you all for being here today. We are now in the portion of our ceremony that is the stole portion of the ceremony. The ceremony that marks the completion of many years of study of our 4 graduates rising out of 4 different centers for spiritual living, all in Southern California. And I want to take just a moment to speak directly to them. Karen, Veronica, Nikki, and Judy. You are all unique and special beings. This is a wonderful day. You are part of the very first graduating class of the Los Angeles campus of the School for Spiritual Leadership. And you will always remember this class as special. As you joined the class, you were added to your class were others that came in. And every time new students came in, it would change the character of the class. So as time went on, things were different. But the 4 of you will remain as this unique experience as that first class. And the things that you are doing today, you will remember forever. You are unique and you have special feelings and you have special talents. And what you have honed during this time in training and in study is your responses to those feelings. And you've refined them and you have grown in consciousness as you've moved through that special experience. You have beautiful hearts that love and that care, the compassion for the world, and you're only growing in consciousness because this is still just in the beginning. It has been my honor to watch you move through these 4 years that have been in the part of where we all are, some less. And it has been an experience that I will always have, just as I will always cherish you. And I want you to know and understand, and for everyone here to know and understand, the value that you are bringing, both to this ministerial class, to your own centers as you have evolved, and to the centers for spiritual living at large, as well as the world. You have fulfilled the extreme demands of ministerial training. The papers, the classes, the practicum, and of course, the retreats and service that you have done. You've balanced this all the time with your work that you do in the world, with the relationships that you have continued to maintain with family and friends, as well as your own changes that have come and evolved and happened throughout the time that you've been in training. Things shift, and you grow in consciousness and you learn. You have been answering this for many, many years, this call of the heart. And so as you move forward, you are going to always grow and keep moving, because nothing is ever the same. We are always changing, and that's why we call graduation a threshold, crossing a threshold. And this work that you have done just speaks beautifully to the acceptance of this path of ministry that you have chosen to take, and that the consciousness that you have expressed, that you could grow into the light and into the love and to that special place that you have come. And one of the things that I know that you have learned is that whenever these dark clouds come into our consciousness, no matter what, you are able to move through with the tools that you have learned, so that you can come back into that, seeing that light, seeing that love, and knowing the power and presence of spirit that is always there for you. And so whatever you're doing, you're embodying a greater and greater revelation of God through you as you on this plane. The invitation as you cross this threshold is to deepen the surrender in your lives to this life of God that moves through you, to live your unique life of God just as you evolve and move into it, your unique way, and to serve the awakening of humans' kind into this life. I want to take a moment to thank all the family members that are here and those that are watching us on YouTube for your generosity and your patience and your givingness and your allowing for these wonderful graduates to move through this program with such determination, with such an eye on the prize. It is such an important gift that you have given. Your love and your commitment is how they got to be where they are today. Thank you, Karen and Veronica and Nikki and Judy. Thank you for allowing me to walk with you in this path. You have been special in my life. You will always be special in my life. And as you bring forth and move into your next aspect of this experience, you will always bring that power, that beauty, that joy into the revelation that you have expressed as your call from the heart. And so now I want to move into the portion where we actually do the stoles. One at a time, I'm going to invite our graduates up, and they are going to be given their stole. And during this time, we will be close, and so I'm wearing the mask. The stole is a symbol of the completion of this commitment they have made. And that's what it is. It's a significant commitment. And so as we move through this part of it, we are celebrating. And you will also be viewing a video of our graduates. So will the Reverend Karen Mondragon please come forward now with her party? Reverend Karen is from the Ventura Center for Spiritual Leadership, and whose pastor is Bonnie Rose, Reverend Bonnie Rose, and she is receiving today the Certificate of Consciousness Studies and the Certificate of the Ministerial Education.
I'm taking this opportunity to thank all the wonderful people in my life who have supported me through the past 4 years in ministerial school. They are all so special and too numerous to name at this time, but they are all in my heart and in my love and just in my path. I want to thank God for providing me the opportunity to do this with faith and with trust. And I thank myself for walking through that space of fear and following this journey. I absolutely know that I have something special to give to this world. I want to thank my husband for his support and for always telling me, you've got this. I want to thank my entire family, each and every one of them, who were so understanding when I had to miss family functions and parties because I had a class to attend or a paper to write. I want to thank my great-grandkids for jumping into Zoom when I was on a class while babysitting them. They were so adorable. I want to thank my ministers, the Dean of the LA campus, Reverend Catherine McKinney, and my senior minister at Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, Reverend Bonnie Rose. Each of those beautiful, wonderful women supported me, encouraged me, and gave me wise counsel. They're in my heart forever. I want to thank my prayer partner, Artilia, for sticking with me through this 4 years and listening to my complaints and my procrastinations about homework. I want to thank my classmates for being who they are, the beautiful women with me today, and those classmates who are soon to follow after us in the same arena. We have bonded. We are so close. We've learned from each other. We've helped each other. We've prayed with each other and for each other. They are very, very special in my life and always will be. I want to thank my Ventura Center for Spiritual Living family, and I want to thank all of my teachers for all the lessons I've learned. I want to thank Ernest Holmes for his vision. Thank you.
Friend Veronica Silva, please come forward. Veronica comes from Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, and today she is receiving the Certificate of Spiritual Studies, and she is receiving the Certificate of Spiritual Education.
Veronica Silva, thank you, thank you, thank you is what I have to say to all of my friends and family. It takes a village, that is for sure, to get through ministerial school. So thank you to my parents, Michael and Mary, for teaching me resilience and love. Thank you to Daniel and Shannon for being my beautiful children. And thank you to Denise and Gavin and Gracie for being my beautiful family and support system. Boy, you guys supported me through thick and thin, through papers and retreats and late nights and looking for dinner and where's dinner and when I'm trying to write a paper. So thank you to my family. Thank you to Reverend Pat Perkins, my first teacher and spiritual guide in science of mind, who taught me to follow my heart. Thank you to Reverend Lee Brown, who taught me to follow my intuition and my inner voice, and that it will never fail me. And also thank you to Reverend Catherine McKinney and Dr. Moira. Thank you for your steadfast support of my journey through ministerial school. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for the opportunities that you've provided. I want to thank all of my friends and family for your support and love. It truly takes a tribe to get through ministerial school to this point. And I am so grateful, so appreciative. Thank you, thank you. With God, all things are possible. Namaste.
And now I would like to call up the Reverend Nikki Robbins, who is from Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living. She is receiving the Certificate in Spiritual Studies and the Certificate of Ministerial Education.
Michael Robbins sending a huge shout out of love and gratitude to all of those who have supported me on this journey. To my mom, Margie, thank you for always being there for me, for running errands, for taking care of my dogs, that have allowed me to be away from home to do this program. Thank you so much. To my brother Pete, you're my best friend. I love you. Thank you. To my dad, who's watching down from above, thank you for your heavenly guidance. To my soul daughter, Bailey, thank you so much for being my heart. I love you. You've been such an inspiration watching you grow up. To my friends, there's so many of you, I can't name you all, but please know I'm thanking each and every one of you, and I'll do it individually. To my Centers for Spiritual Living Granada Hills, thank you, Reverend Mike, Reverend Nancy, Reverend Jeannie, that person from Mammoth, you know who you are. To all the ministers and the practitioners in the congregation, thank you for always uplifting me. I am so blessed to have you. To my fellow classmates, Rachel, what did Jesus say? I know now. Each and every one of you have supported me at some point with homework, with encouragement, or just a you got it, girl. I say thank you to each and every one of you. To my students on the tennis court, thank you for giving me Saturdays off now and then to go to class. I couldn't have done it without your support. And I now know that God is my source and supply, so I don't need to work all the time. But don't worry, I'll be back. To my fellow, to CSL Redondo Beach and the Holmes Institute, thank you so much, Dr. Moira, and especially Reverend Catherine. Your guidance and your support has been profound. You've created this wonderful program at your center, and I'm just so very, very blessed to be a part of it. I thank each and every one of you. And to the Divine Nine and my Special Four at the LA campus, we got this, Chapter 2. Let's go.
And now I would like to invite Reverend Judy Osuna to the center. Judy is from Downey Center for Spiritual Leadership, and she is whose senior minister is Reverend Sunshine Day, and she is receiving today the certificate in spiritual education and the certificate in ministerial education.
Hello. The first thing I want to do is just take a deep breath. I want to breathe this in. I want it to become every part of me. I want to acknowledge what it means for me to be here at graduation, surrounded by people I love. I want my body to absorb the image and the love that I feel for my life and all that it is. What a blessing this journey has been. I have wonderful memories and amazing friends from different spiritual centers. The ones that I attended most was the Huntington Beach Center, Agape International, and my new home, Downey Center for Spiritual Living, where I get to serve next to our beloved Reverend Sunshine. I want to thank my fellow students for being on this path and being shining examples of spiritual practice, love, and joy. I want to thank Reverend Catherine McKinney and Dr. Reverend Maura Fox for opening up the LA campus for our experience. And thank you to Reverend Dr. Sharon Hudson and Linda Watson for the prayers you've given me over the years. A special thank you to Reverend Kathy Hearn for your wisdom and guidance. Thank you for walking me through this process. I love my friends Georgia Taylor, Carmen Brackus, and Debbie Hunter. Thank you for listening to my insights from the books I read and the classes I took. And thank you to my friends Kathy B. Smith and Judy Woods for correcting my papers, even though waves of possibility and quantum collapse wasn't a part of your everyday vocabulary. There is so much to be thankful for and impossible to say it in 2 minutes. But before I close, I want to express my love for my family, my brothers and sisters, my extended family, my son. I love my handsome son. I also want to express my gratitude for Terry Morgan, my friend and ex-sister-in-law who read every single paper I ever wrote and listened to every talk I ever gave. And John Whalen, I never met someone so accomplished financially. Not only were you my friend, you were a mentor and a blessing. We were honest with each other and spoke often of possibilities of what we could create for the centers. I love and miss you both. I love and miss my mom and my 3 brothers who have recently passed away. I love and honor all of you. And last but not least, I want to thank Reverend Eunice Chalfant for being a minister that I can look up to. Someone that was more interested in what I wanted in prayer than listening to the temporary activities that had gone amok. I've come to love, love, love my life, all of it. Thank you, yes, more please. And so it is.
And so now that our graduates have their stoves, we move forward into the program where we have the call to ministry. And Dr. Moira Fox is going to give the call to ministry to our graduates as they rise to the platform, and followed by Reverend Karen Mondragon. The answering the call comes afterwards, and our graduates, the 4 graduates, chose Karen as their spokesperson for answering the call. But first, we begin with Dr. Moira Fox.
Not only have you been called, but you have chose to respond. And it didn't happen when you decided to enter into the ministerial, and I think the mysterious one too. Yes. Process no. I don't need it. I can turn mine on if it's not on.
Am I on now? Oops. That's what it is to have a pocket in your robe that's open for the inside and the out. That's a very good piece of advice I'm giving you right now. And so, my dear ones, we're talking about the call, the calling that you received not just when you entered into ministerial school, but long before you came in to this plane, onto this planet. You'd already said, "Send me, I'll go." And here we are, and you are incredibly, awesomely ready and prepared now for the times we're in. For the times we're in right now that are so unfamiliar and so uncertain. And you were the ones that said, "I'll go, front line, I'll be there." And here you are, and I want to congratulate you, and I want to say how much admiration I have for your endeavor. I have seen a little bit of that endeavor. I've been part of a little bit of that endeavor, and I know that each and every one of you, sitting here before me, will make a huge difference in this life of ours on this plane. But now we get to the practicals. You've heard all the beautiful mystical side of the ministerial life, but you are human beings serving human beings, albeit so divinely. So this is what I have come to know, for what it's worth, to share with you, that in life and living, even until now, and God knows I've been in this endeavor since I was 4 years of age, I kid you not. I saw a picture of the Sacred Heart looking down at St. Margaret Mary, a light coming out of that third eye of his, straight into his Sacred Heart, into her third eye. And I remember as 4 thinking, I don't know what that is, but I want some of that. I want to know what it is. And my aunt, who was a nun, had sent me the card. So I'm knowing that the practical side of this has to be able to be navigated to. And this is what I know. This is what I deeply know. You will not be able to serve people as people want to be served. You will serve them as you can and as you know how. And you'll do that well if you stay in that close, intimate relationship with your source, the lover of your soul, the one that has called you to be its own expression right now as a minister. And I know it's the same with people in marriages and so on. You'll never get anybody to love you the way you want to be loved. They can only love you the way they can love you. But none of that matters once you know that relationship with your source, the supplier of your good, the sustainer of your life. And once you keep that strong and powerfully potent throughout every day, no matter how you're feeling or what the human mind or the human body is going through, if you can just keep that light of yours shining on that individual realization that you are held by a love that will not let you go and can take very good care of you as you take very good care of everybody else. And that's the key. It's the key that I have learned over and over and over again. Will you make mistakes? Yes, of course you'll make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, as I keep reminding myself. But the endeavor is not to make the same one over and over and over again. Make new mistakes and then quickly learn from them. And your life will be so much more easy and filled with grace and ease, I promise. I promise. And know this, we are here for you. Reverend Catherine is here for you. I am here for you. All the people that have brought you to this moment in your life, they are here for you. And that love is copious. And so do not hesitate to call upon it when you know it would be a very real and present help in your life. The practical side of it all. It's very important. I can remember when Dr. Anita was teaching us in the Ministerial School, she was teaching us how to put our handbags somewhere if we went to speak at some other place and so on. Dr. Frank, no, none of that. That was at the other level. So there's the bread and butter stuff of life. And you are the ones that are out there bringing the bread and butter stuff of life to people. And as Mother Teresa says, people are hungry. They'll eat you up to the very last crumb. And so you must sustain yourself and maintain yourself and self-care and retreat at times and go into the quietness and allow yourself to be off schedules and off agendas, because you'll respond to your call so much more wondrously as you do that. And I have to realize that for myself, because really and truly I have learned you can actually go until you drop. You can, and not realize you're tired or weary or anything else. But when you pull back a little bit and you realize, gosh, I didn't realize how tired or wearying life was getting, and then you feed yourself. And how do you do it? You just keep yumming up on spirit and allowing spirit to take care of you and have that spiritual spa. I'm all for spiritual spas. So please promise yourselves that that's what you're going to give to yourself. Again, I will say to you, there will be moments when you will self-doubt. That's okay. Be with the moment. But know this, of myself I do nothing. If you could just relax enough to let yourself off the hook and let spirit take over, you'll be fine, always and ever. And I cannot wait to see how your spiritual lives and ministry unfold. And again, we are here for you. It's been a privilege, it's been a joy to be a little bit of a part of it, but I truly mean it when I say that we are all here for you always and forever. So my dear ones, remember, the mask is a very good symbol for understanding that that's what our humanity is. Our divinity is behind the mask and around the mask and about the mask and above the mask and below the mask, and that's who you are. And never for one spiritual moment forget it. That's who you are. You are the life, you are the light, you are the love, and the individualized expression of those beauteous, virtuous, wonderful energies. And that's all you've ever been, will be, and are right now, no matter what. So keep knowing it, keep allowing it to sustain you, to maintain you, and to see you through the moments when we make the mistakes and feel, goodness, am I up to it? Yes, you are. So I will leave you with understanding that you are the point of light, the point of life, the point of love, through which the infinite expresses itself in all of its radiant magnificence if you allow yourself to be its portal, its outlet. And I know you are. And that's the truth, And so it is. Congratulations, my dears. Congratulations and well done. You can't throw your masks away, but keep them where they're supposed to be. And remember always, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. You're beautiful, you're blessed, and all is well.
Good morning. Following Reverend Dr. Moira Fox is amazing. It is such a gift. Thank you. We need tech support all over the place here. Answering the call. Well, Dr. Fox said it brilliantly and beautifully in her talk. I spent 4 years trying to decide if my call to apply to ministerial school was from spirit or from my ego. I couldn't figure it out. So during those 4 years, I actually applied 2 or 3 times, went through the thing and then dropped it, because every obstacle I could think of, I put on my path. Every single thing I could think of, I put on my path so I could say no. Well, finally, in the 4th year, Spirit said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this girl? She is not answering my call. What's going on? So Spirit just jumped into me, and a beautiful friend of mine, Reverend Carol Lotz, who answered the call before I did, we were supposed to start together, and I was afraid, said, you know what? There's a campus opening in LA. You don't have to travel to San Diego. And just try it. Just call and call Reverend Catherine McKinney. She's the dean. So I thought about it for a while, and then I started feeling in my heart. My heart kept going bump, bump, bump. I couldn't. The mind stopped and the heart started. And that's when I knew that it wasn't my ego. I knew it was Spirit calling me, because, I mean, just talking about it right now, I get short of breath, because it's in my body. It's who I am, and I couldn't say no. And once I made that first phone call, once I decided to, yes, I'm going to answer this call and serve Spirit in this way, all those obstacles went away. They just fell away. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they did. So here I am, 4.5 years later, wearing this robe. And it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, and it's a passion. And the call to serve Spirit, serve God, serve the higher power, is the initial primary call we make. The other calls, the secondary calls, are how we do it. It's okay, I'm going to go into ministry. But just being in ministry isn't the end of it, because Spirit's going to keep calling us. It's going to say, okay, where are you going to bring this ministry? Who are you going to see? How are you going to do it? And each and every one of us and all the ministers who came before us do it in their own special way. And they're all different. And they're all beautiful. And they're all serving Spirit and serving humanity. And that's what answering the call is all about. It's serving ourselves by loving ourselves and making it possible for us to bring that love out into the world. However we do it, whether it's through teaching, joining the Peace Corps, going in the medical field, or something smaller. It could be serving our neighborhood. It could be walking dogs for our neighbors. It could be watching our grandkids. It could be making the best example we can make. It can be by starting a prayer circle. Whatever it is, it brings us passion and joy and happiness. And if the call is not real, if it's not from Spirit, we will know that, because we will have no joy, we will have no happiness singing in our hearts. And that's what answering the call is all about. It's bringing us happiness, it's bringing us light, and it's bringing us love. And we're bringing that into humanity, into our communities, into our families. It's wonderful, it's magical, and it's so great, and I'm so happy, and I'm so excited. And in this pandemic where I've been home and people say, well, what are you going to do? And I say, well, I'm just waiting for God to call me. Because I don't know yet, but I'm ready. And when I receive that call, I'll know where to go. And I'll know that, yeah, this is it. I'm answering this call. This call's from Spirit. And that smorgasbord of spiritual juice is just wonderful and magical, and it feeds me, and it helps me feed the world. And, you know, I'm just happy. I am so excited and happy to be here. I can't even contain myself. I just feel like jumping up and down. But I know that's not professional, so I won't do it. But anyway, for those of us, my beautiful classmates here have all answered the call. For every single one of us who have answered a call, continue to answer the call. Continue to listen for that phone to ring from Spirit and answer it. And you'll know when it's Spirit, when your heart starts beating and it won't stop. So enjoy the journey.
And so now we're nearing the end of our ceremony, and we welcome in video the Reverend Bonnie Rose, who is the senior minister at Ventura Center for Spiritual Living, and she is going to offer a blessing for all of the graduates.
So I invite everybody to turn within. You can shut your eyes if you like, or just lower your gaze. And I'm going to be doing a blessing for our ministerial graduates. So we turn within, and together we know that there is only one perfect life, and that life is the life of God. It goes by many names: love, Spirit, higher power, divine source, infinite, intimate friend. I call upon all of these qualities of Spirit, all of these aspects of Spirit, knowing that God is great and that we are one with that divine power, that divine presence. And I know that as I am one with that divine presence, most certainly all of these beautiful ministerial graduates are blessed by the divine presence within them always. And so, moving from this place, I speak my word of truth, a word of blessing for them. I know that they are always led by their high calling to ministry, that they are always divinely guided in everything that they do, every choice that they make, that they are vessels of love in the world, helping the world become a place of compassion and grace and understanding, and that love's light shines brightly within each of them. They answer their calling today to be ministers of love and light. And that calling is sacred. That calling is divine. That calling is unique to each and every one of them. And so I bless this calling right here and right now. I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful for the perfect ministries unfolding in the perfect ministers that sit before us today. And with a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, love. And I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is.
And so we now move to the official graduation decree. We are joined in video with the Reverend Dr. Sharon Hudson, and she is the field leader for Centers for Spiritual Living, and she joins us now.
Well, hello, beloved ministerial graduates. What a joy it is to share this day with you. I'm glad you're having a formal graduation ceremony. And I know each of you, and I'm just so happy for you and for the world that you are stepping into service as minister. I know that each of you are the heart, the hands, the voice of Spirit on earth. I want to sing the song to you. So with a big hearty congratulations and all my love and my absolute faith in your success in all you do, and that you are guided by the wisdom of Spirit in everything. It is time now, that special time of pronouncing you. And so I would like to ask all the ministerial graduates to stand and stay standing if you're not already doing so. And by the power of God and the authority of the Centers for Spiritual Living vested in me, I do declare the official completion of your ministerial training. I confer upon you, as appropriate, the degree of Master's in Consciousness Studies, or the Certificate in Spiritual Education, or the Certificate in Ministerial Education. And I recognize each of you as a minister of truth. So go forth celebrating and change the world. You are a blessing.
Okay, y'all. And now we are going to move to a celebration in song. The song is We Come Together, sung by and written by Eddie Watkins Jr. And again, we are using images of the many students from the Schools for Spiritual Leadership. The video.
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you and say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, every creed and color, in kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together.
And so we celebrate. We come to near the very end of our service today, and we have the benediction from Reverend Sunshine Day, who's the senior minister of the Downey Center for Spiritual Leadership, and we will join her in video for our benediction.
What a joyous event this is, and what a joyous event this has been. It has been indeed a blessing. Let us move now into our closing prayer, our benediction. The invitation is to close your eyes gently or close them so that they are casting a soft gaze upon something inspirational. And as I close my eyes, I recognize the one power, the one presence, the one life that is God, that is infinite, that is everywhere present, all powerful, all knowing. I know that it has created everything out of itself. Therefore, my life is the unique and unrepeatable, magnificent way that life source, that spirit, that God shows up in human form. And as this is my truth, I know that this is the truth for each and every one of us. And I just speak a word now of thanksgiving and of blessing for these proceedings, for these sacred souls that have said yes to ministry, to awakening humanity to their spiritual magnificence by providing the spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. I give thanks for this facility and for the virtual ability to celebrate this auspicious moment, especially during these times. How grateful I am for each and every one of us, those who have supported, those who have taught, those who have stepped forward in love and in understanding. I know now that we create a world that works for all. And as we do that together, we are indeed awakening ourselves and all to the truth that right where we are, right where I am, right where you are, God is. This one perfect life. So blessing us now as we travel, as we arrive, as we continue our day, I know and I give thanks for the blessing that this is, knowing that we use this time and we use this edification not only for our own purpose, but so that we too awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So for this and so much more, I remain eternally grateful and thankful and in deep, deep appreciation. I simply let it be so, and so it is.
I want to briefly acknowledge some wonderful people. An event such as this never happens by itself. There are always so many people that work behind the scenes. I want to thank our staff angels, Doris Garrett, Alex Molineros, and Beverly Oxier, who have worked to bring this together. We have our production team, and they have my everlasting gratitude for the fact that we can even do a video graduation. And I'm speaking of Alex Thompson and Martin Peterson, who have been steadfast in all of their work, as well as the technical team, Katie Frankel, who's on the camera today, Melissa Hoyt, who's doing the sound, and Beverly Conover, who is there for everything. These are wonderful people who have done so much to make this happen, and I'm so very, very grateful. And so thank you all for being here, and know that as we close in a moment of prayer for our Centers for Spiritual Living, for our country, and for our world in this time that we are in. And know that God is in the midst of everything, just as God is in the midst of all of our lives. Thank you for being here, and namaste.